another window now. Where's it gone? Just to make sure. Oh, got to turn that off. Just to make sure it all works. Where are we? YouTube. Shadow. Oh, there's a little. Oh, we are live.
Oh yeah, we are definitely live. I'm gonna start sharing it.
See what happens when you get your settings right at the start.
Oh yeah. Very convenient.
Yep. Now I better put a Facebook.
Anything in particular we're gonna talk about?
We are live now, remember?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
we can't be discussing what we're talking about because we need to sound like we actually know what we're doing.
Oh,
Oh, show's bad. I just put it in the wrong page. There we go. Sorry, everybody. I know you can't see me yet, but you'll hear the as we're going live.
Okay.
Okay, I better put the link in there as well. All right, that's up on the Wapper page. Now what I've got to do is go to the actual show and then pop the chat out. Show and then pop the chat out. Oh, I can hear myself. The feedback is amazing.
3 times.
Oh, that's interesting. There's 2 people watching. That's probably us. Live chat.
Most likely.
All right, that's interesting because the live chat is not working. So I apologize if you're going to be communicating within the chat room because the chat room is not coming up. Unless it's popped up somewhere else that I can't see. Ah, here we go. It's just popped up. Dion's in already. Hey, Dion. How are you, mate? Now I've got to pop it out. That sounds wrong. Yes, it
Gary,
is.
you said not to say nothing naughty.
I know. Well, it is another Friday night and stupidness does ensue. There's 3 people watching now, so there's somebody else in. I don't know who that is, but sorry guys, I am just in the process of setting up the live chat. So let's just go to the live chat. Hang on, have I got a 2-up live chat set? I do, and I've just realised it might be completely wrong. Yeah, it's a little bit out, but let me have a look. I can see you, and then I just have to YouTube chat, and I have to adjust the source to be. Is that the one? No, that one there.
I am not centered.
I know you're not centered.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, got more important things to talk about. The chat room.
Whoop.
Settle down, mate. Settle down. Where are we?
No.
All right, let's go. I've got some fancy effect on there, and it looks stupid. I just want to go back to the normal. It's been that long since I've used this program that I have to remember how to get to the effects, and I don't know how to do it. All right, so here we go. Here, so let's just. No, we don't want 3D chat because nobody can read that. There we go. It's all right because there's only one person in at the moment. Now, if you want, I will adjust yours so that you're. All right, let's go. Fernando. Hang on, which one? Sorry, guys. I am in the process of. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. No, wrong one. Right one. No, you don't want the cursor on that. Sorry, I'm just changing some of these settings. Let's take the stretch off and just go with. Whoa. Hello. See that? Hang on. Let me just adjust. Sorry. It's going to look silly for a little bit, but you can talk, Fernando.
Hello.
Oh,
So yeah. I think we should. I mean, aside from talking about what we just, I think we should see if anybody has any interesting haunted objects in their facilities. That would be interesting to see. Because I know we've had. Is it MJ that she has a couple of dolls or something? Uh,
I'm not sure.
that would be, interesting subject.
I've just actually realised that I haven't put my little sign on in the background.
Oh, the on air.
No, that one's on. The other one. Hang on. Sorry if you see me bum.
Oh, we're getting twice the show. Oh man. So how's it going, Dion? Man, hopefully we could definitely have a chat one day and trade some war stories.
All right. I don't know. Is the audio coming through it all right, Dion? I'm not sure because I've got two different live bits coming up. But I just want to make sure you're not getting any double up on the audio.
I would have to mute you.
No.
So
I can. Do you want to keep talking?
Yes.
There you go.
That is actually something that I say pretty much all the time. Same different day.
Same shit. All right, let's just
Look
put
at
you
us
up
trying to be
further.
gentlemen.
But gentlemen, no. All right, Dion said audio is fine, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, we had a bit of an interesting conversation before. Well, we actually recorded, and it was a pretty good conversation actually. And I don't want to talk about it now because I don't. You know what I mean? I don't want. Sorry, I'm trying to work out how to get this so it looks right. I'll shrink myself.
I mean, obviously, we're not going to talk about what we spoke already on the show, but we could speak on more of a personal aspect of haunted objects.
Yeah.
Especially, whoever's watching, if you have some haunted objects that you want to share, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we just recorded an episode on haunted objects, so it would be interesting to see what everybody else has experience with. So, yeah, I'd like to see what's going on in the chat room. There's not a lot happening yet. It's Dion. I don't even know how many people we have. We've only got 3 people watching, so it's a quiet start tonight. But we did only just post the link, so give everybody a few minutes to get in there. Who watched last week's episode? Fernando? Not Fernando. I know you did. Dion, did you watch last week's episode, the Demon Seer? Be interesting to hear your take on that because, like I said, I don't know how to approach this conversation, but as you would know, if you researched June, she's actually been on Ghost Adventures, and actually worked with Mr. Zach, and it's quite interesting the stories that she had to say. So I've put a lot of time into what she had to say, and if you did watch it and you heard what she had to say about myself personally, there was actually a lot more that ties into that afterwards that I was not aware of. So yeah, very
Yeah, that's cool
interesting.
because it was a very interesting episode. Um, like you, I was told by a couple of people that I have. They didn't really name the spirit, but apparently I have a archangel on me.
Yep.
I would love to see if we could get June um, on again, so I could speak to her and see if she could, you know, core approve or disprove these comments. But y- y- after 20 years in the paranormal field, I've gone to so many places, and I've it's kind of weird if you go to a haunted location that everybody has had so many crazy experiences and activity going on. And, you know, when I get there, everything kind of dies down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not much happens. So I do feel as though like there might be like a repellent on me. But let's just say, if it is true, what I've heard of, that I have this protective entity around me, would that affect paranormal activity around me? Because then,
Mm.
me as a paranormal investigator, that's good, but at the same time, it's like I want to experience things.
Well, this is one of the things that I actually mentioned with her when I was talking to her. I did say that when she told me what she had to say about me personally, and I said, well, when I do a paranormal investigation, I can sometimes witness things, but it's almost like nothing really comes close, other than a couple of times, and one of them being down in Albany, which I've told you guys about before. Uh, and I said, could that have anything to do with it? What she had to say, and she said, yeah, because they can see the other part of me, if you want to put it like that, or who's standing by me, if you want to put it in a different way, and it scares some of the darker ones. And it was, she had some really interesting stuff to talk about. And it might be the reason why some people see lots of activity and I don't, but I'm still out there, and I'll admit it. I do try doing the personal stuff where I'll sit quiet in a room and see what my senses pick up and things like that. And that's hit and miss for me. I tend to rely on equipment, instruments, and things like that only because they're the only way I've got of picking some of these things up. But she did say that yes, they can see who's there with me, and they don't mess with that. And it's quite interesting some of the stuff she had to say about Lucifer and other
Oh, that was interesting.
entities and things like that. It's a very different take on the religious thing. And what blew me away as well is, even based on what the show was basically talking about, she doesn't believe in religion. Religion is a man-made concept, which is something I've always said. And if you go by what she says, the beings that we would refer to as angels, and even the God entity, or actually, there was some really interesting stuff about that as well. Like, there's a creator of God as well as all the rest, and that makes sense. But where does it all end, and where does it all begin? it's a bit of a mind blowing conversation that we had, but yeah, what she had to say about some of them completely defies what goes on in the holy books. And did you hear that then?
I heard when you moved, it sounded like something brushed up against your mic.
You didn't hear the knocking again? The same as what happened when we were recording?
No, not
It
this
was
time.
the same. I think something's banging on the walls in here, and there's nobody in this part of the house. Lynn's right down at the front. Oh, I don't know. She's not even in the house. She's out the back in the patio area. So there's nobody in the house, and I am getting knocking on the walls, which ties into some of this haunted object conversation that we were having earlier tonight.
Oh yeah, let's enlighten. Well, Dion, since we only have him watching, but during this conversation with haunted objects, we were mentioning, personal items that we might have in our home that might be, haunted. So as soon as Gary started talking about his and his experiences inside a house, I heard the knock the first time, but you might be experiencing something.
I don't know. But while it's just the three of us in here, I'm going to do a couple of little adjustments to hey, no, hit the right one. Come on, wake up. Have I locked that? Oh, I have. I've locked it. Idiot. Okay, let's unlock it. There we go. Sorry, you might see some weird shit happening. There we go. I've got to go sideways for one because I can't see past my camera. So that's all that's happening there. I'll lock that one off again. And I don't know if anybody actually noticed. I've got a new Static Echoes logo.
Oh.
So I'm going to bang that one in here as well. I know it's a Shadow Files thing, but I'm trying to sort of tie the two of them together as much as I can. Where are we? Where's it gone? That's just the personal. No, that's ensuite behind me, laundry in front, and there's nobody in either of them. Where are we?
Now, Dion's talking about personal massager.
I do have one of those things. It was bought for me as a present from one of my stepdaughters. And no, it's not a dirty one. It's a proper physio one. Oh, do you think
nobody was thinking that?
I can't find the charger for it. So it's not very good.
Oh, man. That's wild. I've always found that aspect a little wild that, that we cannot find certain cables to certain things, but yet again, we have millions of equipment and tech when when you need something for some reason, it's not around to be used.
Yeah. Sorry if you see some weird stuff happening in the background. It's just my new logo coming into play. So I've got to adjust it without adjusting everything else. Continue.
But yeah. I was able to relate to a lot of stuff that you guys were talking about on that show for sure. I've always long said that I was raised Catholic, but I've always felt like I know there is a higher power, but the way the Bible portrays it to be, the way Catholics, Christians, the way they portray God, Jesus, all of this stuff to be, I wasn't really relating to that. But I know there's something out there. And then, hearing that episode kind of just, was like, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, like I said, as soon as religion was taken out of that conversation, it was so good. It was so good, And then to be able to, because when you talk to somebody and they bring up religion and that they're ardent believers, and you just know that there's places you can't go with that conversation. While this was not the case, you know, we had a fantastic conversation, and I loved it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, just hearing her, the way she speaks, like there was. I wish I was there to talk to her because I just had so many questions. Like for one, I would love to ask her. So, how many battles have you had?
what was interesting is, yes, I do think I actually got into that with her off air, and I can't remember, but I'll leave that because she did say she definitely come back on and she'll talk to you guys and she'll talk with Lynn as well. She wants to have a chat with Lynn because if you watched it, you know Lynn's name came up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even the dog came up. So I don't know if that was on air or if that was off air. To tell you the truth, but yeah, it's interesting. What I'm finding funny is I don't know if it's because we're actually live a few minutes early tonight because this new setup it goes live so much quicker. We're actually it's only just 9:05, so I don't think people are expecting us to be on until 9 o'clock or just after. Dion, that's on the Shadow File. It's actually that conversation is on both. It's on the Static Echoes and on the Shadow File. So I did record that for both episodes. So you'll find it either way. That's the Demon Seer episode. And what's interesting is apparently, you know, if you do have one of these connections and you build that, she said to me, you know, you've got to talk to it every day and basically get to know each other, even though they know everything about you anyway. But you have to get to a point where you can trust them. And when they reach a certain point, they will let you see things through their eyes, which means seeing a demon in its true form. And
Oh
that's
man, that was interesting.
quite interesting. I actually brought the way she described about the battles taking place almost in another dimensional plane of sorts. That reminded me very much of, you know, the burning world from Constantine. It reminded me very much of that. And when I brought up about Constantine, she actually said the person that wrote the comic book Constantine has obviously seen that other place. So it can't be too far off what she actually sees.
Yeah,
Although she
yeah,
did describe the demons being very different looking to what Constantine sees them as. At least within the movie version anyway.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Constantine is definitely. I mean, due to our what we do, he's definitely a very interesting character to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's been I mean there's no shortage. You'll find her on a lot of different podcasts and she, like I said, she's been on Ghost Adventures. You'd have to, I think she mentions the name of the episode when you look it up, but if you type in June Lundgren Ghost Adventures, I think I showed you guys that little trailer where she's talking with Zach, and it's interesting what she had to say that happened after that, and it ties into with what's even going on even now. So yeah, it's really really interesting, and I would fully recommend. I've watched it a couple of times myself because I'm picking up bits that I missed during the conversation. Because once she said what she had to say about me, while my skeptical mind's going, yeah, you know, there was some definite truth to it. And it's almost like I actually started getting a pressure in my head as if something was going, yeah, you need to pay attention, sort of thing, you know. And
Mhm.
I was actually blown away by it. So definitely check out last week's episode because if you do believe there is something out there, but you're not specifically a religious person, that is the episode to watch. Definitely.
Sure, for sure. So, personal question.
Yeah.
Um, After hearing everything what June said about you, um, are you going to try and pursue it?
I already have.
are you planning to take it all the way?
I already have. At least what she said about there being a merge. She told me off air how to do it, and I've already done that. And it's funny how I don't know if it's just me or whether it's actually something to it, but you got to listen to your conscience, that little voice in your head a little bit more, because that little voice in your head might not just be a little voice in your head. That could be something else guiding you in a specific direction. Like when I'm driving to work and stuff, normally I'll go a certain way. Twice this week, it's gone, no, keep going. I've just had this urge to not turn and to keep going straight. And I don't know if there was anything to that or if there wasn't anything to it. But how I was saying about that pressure in the top of your head here? It's something I've not experienced and it happens. It's not a pain, it's a pressure that just comes. And then once you don't go the way you were going to go, it goes. It's definitely a very weird sensation. Now, I don't know if it was just because of the conversation that I'm actually now connecting the two myself, or whether there is legitimately something there to it, And this ties back into what we were talking about the week before about mental institutions and how some people, if they hear a little voice in their head saying thump, suddenly they're committed and they're classed as being a schizophrenic, when there's no clinical proof that anything like that is actually happening. So, yeah, I guess you can put that for anything paranormal, and it's a case of you've got to take it for what it is and take from it what you want, as long as you're not hurting other people.
Yeah. No, I definitely related so much to that episode, and you guys having that conversation, because geez, I mean, even me, like how I said earlier, people have said like I have something, and it is known that if you dwell, like if you go a bunch of times to like us paranormal investigators, that we go to different haunted locations quite often, that it builds that sensitivity to us, almost making us some sort of, dare I say, empath. But I've always said that even if I am something, like I don't really want to have that ability, just because I've seen myself, I've been with so many people going to different places that, there's an interesting place to go to within a location.
Yeah.
And then I've seen these guys, these empaths, these sidekicks, not being able to go there because it's almost like there's a wall, and like something is not letting them go there. Like, no, I want to go there, right? So I don't want to have that limitation on me. But there were quite a few times. I mean, I talk about Kings Park all the time. I've been there well over 20 times.
Yeah.
I've gone to the same building over and over and over so many times, but there were two occasions where we go to the same building and I'm at the foot of, like about to go in like normal, almost like if I'm walking to my house. And there were like twice where I was like, today's not a good day.
Yeah.
Let's skip it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel it like a pressure or anything. It's just almost an overwhelming sense of danger.
Oh.
Like this, like I'm I'm gonna use this, and I might be stretching it, but I've been in a car accident.
Yeah.
And that feeling, like right before the impact, like that scaredness and that prepared, like about to take a blunt kind of, like when your body kind of just, like gets ready, but you're scared, you don't know how the outcome is going to be, or like that split second, that feeling, like I could relate it to that.
Yeah.
Both times when I went to Kings Park, and I did not go to the place where I usually go to.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I went out there with pineapples, there was a situation where we were at the same building. That's the second time we went to the same building, and I stayed outside, and it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So they wanted it to go in, pineapples and the other kid, they wanted it to go in, and I stayed outside. Apparently, if we taking his word of, like, apparently something happened in there. They ended up coming out within 5 minutes. Like, I hardly doubt they even went down the hallway, but something happened to them, and they just, basically made them run out.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. So I'm not just, you know, I'm there's something. There's something.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
interesting.
Well, when you talked about your car accident and stuff like that, I've mentioned before that I've been in. I used to ride my motorbike. I've got a Harley Davidson, and I used to ride it religiously. It's got a ridiculous amount of miles on it. It should really be replaced, but I love that bike to death. So it's going to be staying there until it doesn't go anywhere anymore, which is it's not really doing at the moment. But there was one time when I was going to work, and anybody who rides a motorbike, especially here in Western Australia, and I would assume anywhere else in the world, what you find yourself doing is splitting the lanes, cutting down through the traffic, which you are allowed to do. It is legal under a certain speed, and there are certain rules that apply to doing it properly, although most people don't bother with that. But I was going along the freeway, and anybody who knows the freeway here in Perth, it's like at a standstill heading into the city. And I used to work in the city itself. And there was a row of about probably 5 or 6 motorbikes, and we were all just puttering along through. And there was this ute, a utility pickup truck, whatever you would call them over there, to my right that I was heading up behind it. And he'd had enough of all these bikes cutting through. So he actually turned his wheels and nudged in, and he actually nudged my handlebars. I was doing about 50 kilometers an hour, to which my bike completely lost balance because he had this net on the back of his ute, and it still blows me away today because what happened was I lost balance, and when you lose balance, the first thing you do is you put your foot down to push yourself up. And the bike was tipping over to the left, and there was a big truck, and I was sort of beside the bed. If I'd have tipped over and gone over, I would have gone under the back of that truck, and I would have had about 8 wheels run straight over the top of me and kill me. I put my foot down, obviously doing 50 kilometers an hour. The foot just got whooshed to the back, which made it even worse. I ended up becoming a ping pong ball between the ute and the truck. And I saw, and it sounds stupid, but I saw the whole world, my whole life, flash before my eyes. I was seeing things, and then I was upright, and I'd regained my balance, and then I just got away from those two because I didn't want to be anywhere near them. So I hoofed it a little bit, got past them, and then once my heart settled down, I started to settle down as well. But when I got to work, it made me think, you know what? I saw so much that I must have been out of it for what seemed like minutes because I saw that much. But in reality, it couldn't have been any more than a split second. Otherwise, I would have been under that thing, under the truck. And then I thought to myself, while I was going through my little show reel of life, how come I didn't go underneath the truck? Was something holding me up, stopping me from going under? And then the next thing that I'll start thinking was, where was I? Because that amount of stuff that I saw cannot happen in a split second. So if I was actually ripped out of my body at that point and then thrown back in, to be able to see that much stuff, time is very different wherever I might have ended up for that split second. And I think anybody who goes through a situation like that will probably agree with what I'm saying is it can't compute that. I can see that I'm a bit thick, right? I've got a lot of useless junk up in my head that I've gathered over a long life, and Jeremy would remind everybody how old I am and shit like that, older than the bloody wheel and stuff. But what,
That's a classic.
yeah, but what happens is you actually think more about the possibilities, because obviously as you get older, you're getting closer to finding out the answers, at least to some of them, and it becomes a lot more of a curiosity. So I haven't told a lot of my family about that, because they would have said, that's it, you're off your motorbike, you're never riding it again, and that's just not happening. Once you ride a motorbike, it's in your blood, and you just can't not, especially a Harley. It's not a fast bike, it's a cruiser. It's I can't even describe it. You just got to experience it, and you will know it is just something that you can't put into words. Like I said, it's not like one of these little crotch rockets where you're going 1,000,000 miles an hour. They go fast, yeah, you can work them up and stuff like that, but that's not the point of where I'm going at with this. Is things happen in your life that give you a glimpse that there is more to it, and everything is not exactly how science would explain it to be. So you had your car accident, and you have mentioned it to me before. That was the one out on the islands or going across. I remember telling us about that around New York or something. And I had mine on the freeway. I've had a couple of other near misses and stuff, but I haven't had the same thing. That is the only time I've had that experience that tells me that it could have been potentially a lot worse, but for some reason I'm still here. And that's only just come back into my head since you brought up last week's conversation, or since we brought up last week's conversation tonight. And it's interesting, the parallels to like Constantine, and even the way she described Lucifer. I watched the TV show. I love the TV show Lucifer over here, where he's up and he's got the club in LA and everything like that. I love that version.
Classic.
But even when you watch the Constantine version, he's still wearing a suit, even though he's got that tarry stuff over him and everything. And there's a very similar kind of descriptor for him on how the angelics see him.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be interesting. Like I said, I know the name of the one around me. I know the name of the one around Lynn. I know the nature of them both. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if I keep feeding the beast a little. No, that's the wrong term. But you know what I mean? Keep working at it to see where it goes, because it can put a whole new spin on paranormal cases and things like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is very interesting the way how, because yes, like how I mentioned with my car accident, I don't think I've ever showed you guys the pictures, right? No. I will definitely have to show you that picture just so you could have a look on how bad that car accident was. I should have been dead. I should not be here. For some reason. The van that hit my car was a 2-door, Corolla. The van hit my side. It T-boned me. And I'm usually with a bunch of people riding with me, hanging out. If there was anybody else in that vehicle, they would have instantly died, because the car looked like it was put in a cruncher. And the only seat that was good, mind you, the car hit me on my side, was my seat. Everything else was crunched in. Aside from that, from the car accident, almost dying there, but a piece of glass flew into my neck. I still have possibly like a little scar there, but it was, the doctor said it was a couple of I don't know, centimeters or something that away from my artery.
Yep.
So thankfully, it didn't knit that because I would have bled out.
Yeah.
But
Very quickly. Yeah.
but yeah, it I definitely felt that day, and I think that was when I started seeing things differently as far as religion is concerned, because I never really had the feel that I have something protecting me.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that I have a lot of family members that has crossed over, maybe they protected me, but I kind of don't feel it that's the case. I think there's something much bigger going on there. And I also spoke to you about this personal, you know what? This is live. Um, I was at a low point in my life. My closest cousin, unfortunately, took his own life. And I was like, you know, there was just a series of bad things. So, that it was definitely hard for me.
Mm.
So I ended up getting on this very, you guys type in New York bridges, the BQE, Brooklyn Queens Expressway, is going to pop up because it's one of the most busiest um, highways, bridges that connects Brooklyn and Queens. So it was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got on it. There was nobody there. I got on it. I put the pedal to the metal, as like that saying goes, and I just clenched back. I just lay down, and I got from Brooklyn to Queens, and it's an unbelievable story because there's a lot of turns. Normally, it would take 25 minutes to a half hour without traffic to get there. If there's traffic, you could easily last an hour. Um, but I got there in like 3, 5 minutes.
Mm.
So
So
it's like,
you're heading into Bermuda Triangle type stories with things like that.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I still remember that moment where I just opened my eyes and I was like, what's taking so long?
Mm.
Like that moment was mind blowing. I think actually that was another moment as to what kind of drove me, besides my very first paranormal experience, that kind of pushed me towards doing what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had a comment
Uh,
in the chat. I've heard a few stories of people surviving on the roads when it seemed impossible. And that's tying into everything that we're talking about tonight. Now, I don't know if we would class that as like a near-death experience because I never felt close to death. I knew it was very close to happening when what happened to me happened, but it wasn't a medical, like you'd had a heart attack or anything like that. It was just I thought I was going underneath. So it begs the story. What happens when you do have a genuine near death experience, and wherever you are, can you bring hitchhikers back with you that can then haunt you, curse you, whatever you want, or you know what I mean? I don't know. Now, everybody's heard the term when you have a near miss with something, or your guardian angels were watching out for you. What if there's more to that than just a common phrase that's just thrown out willy nilly when something happens? You know, it's interesting because one of the things that she did say is there's hundreds of thousands of angelic creatures walking around, around us at all times, but there's still quite a large number of these angelic things that actually are merged with people, and they all have the same basic, they all have certain abilities, but each have their specifics or their specialties. I don't know what the correct term for it is. And it's just interesting timeline jumpers just been brought up in the chat.
no, yeah, I read it.
Yeah. Very, like I said, if you didn't watch last week's episode, it's definitely worth checking out because that was very interesting. And when I said to her, it's one of the most interesting conversations I've had, I wasn't lying because it is not something that we would normally go. I mean, we're still waiting from somebody from the Church of Scientology to come on the show, but they just keep ignoring us. They mess with our show whenever we bring them up in a bad light, but they won't come on the show and talk to us. I've still got to actually get my camera and go down to the local Church of Scientology and see if I can actually get through the door.
Jeez. That that would be interesting to talk to somebody from Scientology, yes, but I highly doubt that's ever going to happen.
Well, you look at the last 2 weeks that we've done. We've talked about the mental health stuff the week before and how that can tie into some people seeing things that could be deemed paranormal. And we actually went into how humans don't really know what they're doing. It's, you know, as much as what they say they did, at least back in the 70s anyway. And when you hear voices or you have these sensations, how many people actually think you're crazy and can you be committed for it? Because the actual episode name was, sane people in an insane place. And it could be quite a scary and daunting situation to be in because when you've got a bunch of crazies around you, sorry for lack of a better term, and you are sane, but everything that you're saying is 100% the truth, but the people who are treating you don't believe a word you're saying, are they automatically prejudging you? You're a nutcase, so we're just going to pump you full of tablets and shit to put you in a place where, we've got control.
Technically speaking.
Well, that word, control, put you in a place where they've got control of you. That's exactly the same thing as religion. Religion, and again, this is a man-made concept. It is not throwing any crap at God or whatever you want to call them, or angels or demons and things like that. You know my thoughts on that. There is the truth, and then there is what man puts forward. Now, the truth, as I was always led to believe it, even from a religious standpoint, is that true belief is in your heart. It's not in bricks and mortar. So they're saying no to going to church. So long as you live your life by those rules and you live a good life, then you are doing the right thing. It's only humans that have said you have to go there every Sunday, every this, every that. You've got to put money in the collection basket, and you've got to do all these different things. He would know. It's only Christianity is only 2,000 years old. Humanity is much older than that. You go back to Sumerians and things like that. They'd never heard of Jesus or any of these things. Yes, there's texts and there's pictograms and there's hieroglyphics and all these different things to represent beings that have come from the sky and stuff like that, which ties into the ancient aliens theory and stuff, which again it's completely fascinating stuff. So I definitely believe that we have been visited from a long time past. It's just the narrative keeps getting written to suit those people that want power. And while I'm not saying anything bad about the Pope or anything like that, you look back at the last 20 years about the different amounts of priests that have been charged with child molestation and different things like that. These are people that are supposed to uphold all the values of a Christian life, and they're not even doing that. Again, this is not one bit throwing it out at every one of them. All I'm saying is that there is a definitive number of cases that are like that, which shouldn't be, because that they are supposed to be our spiritual guidance people. And that's why I don't believe in religion. I believe in a spiritual life, in a spiritual being. And I do have my beliefs about what's out there. I just won't program them into a specific name and into a specific genre whether it be this one, whether it be that one. You know, the holy books are just books. They weren't written by God, they were written by people. And I know this is going to tick off a lot of people when I say that, but it's the truth. You know, you can turn around and say, yes, it was influenced. And okay, maybe that is the case, but the message is still the same. Live a good life, and that is all he asks. And there are a lot of people that don't do that in this day and age. And that's why we're in such a shitbox of a world at the moment. You know?
Yeah. Going back to the sane inside an insane place, I truly believe that we have experienced criticism or judgment, and obviously is not at the extreme measure of going to a psychiatric hospital and being admitted. But when we believe in something paranormal, and we're talking about it, openly, you're having a conversation with, somebody that's into it, and you guys are exchanging, stories. Somebody else could be listening and they're like, they're crazy. Like, paranormal isn't real, right? Ghost, entity, spirits is not real. So they're crazy. So in a way, we have already experienced certain aspects, because I've had plenty of conversations where, I felt like, you know what, I'm just going to either walk away or I'm just going to shut up and let's talk about whatever you want to talk about, right? Because if, like, the beautiful thing about the paranormal community is that I believe that everyone that is involved or is interested in the paranormal is because they know that the paranormal is real. Now, you might have some jokers that wants to, go in there and start bashing. But this is what I find very, dare I say, even like a zen, like a peace place, like a safe place for us to get together and because it is good to talk about these things and just let it all out.
Actually, that's something interesting. Anybody who's here in Perth and you're listening in or whatever, I mean, there's 6 people watching at the moment. At least that's what's showing up on the thing. If you ever want to have a get together and just sit down and have a big old chat, no cameras, just people having a chat around a coffee or a milkshake or a burger, let us know in the comments, because I'd be up for catching up with like-minded people in the area. And the same for anybody who's watching this in the Florida area. Reach out to Dion, because I know Dion is looking to catch up with like-minded people over there as well. Now, while you were talking about the mental institutions and things like that, here's a quandary for you, right? You, myself, and anybody who is interested in the paranormal will know that old, closed down psychiatric hospitals are an absolute haven for paranormal activity. You're talking Waverly Hills, Trans-Allegheny, there's a number of them. There's a lot of them over here as well. How would you feel if you ended up getting a phone call from the management of one of these hospitals, because they are
for free?
Let me think about it, right? Because they are experiencing what they say is something paranormal, right? In one of these, still open for business, but something's happening, so they're calling in a paranormal team to come and have a look, right? What do you think their clinical diagnosis would be of the people that are turning up to go in and investigate? Because they're investigating something that they themselves are treating other people for saying that they're crazy.
That's interesting. But we could even take it.
Do you do the investigation and they say, okay, you're going to be locked up for 3 weeks? Can I keep my K2 or keep my EMF meter? It's...
I mean, they're calling me to go in to investigate the paranormal.
Yes.
Right? And I would have to stay in the facilities for 3 weeks.
Well, I'm not drugged up.
I mean, that to me sounds like hostile. Like, come come over here under these circumstances, and we'll pay you.
You think about it, a lot of people have been pulled into very bad situations by being lured into something that they thought was a good thing.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I mean, Jesus. Uh yeah. Under those circumstances, nah, I'm good. But I mean, it also, I definitely would, like, just like how people, regular people experiencing the paranormal wants needs help, and they reach out
Uh,
because they need help.
yeah.
Of course, I've done it before. You've done it before. House calls. But for an institution and an insane asylum to call somebody up to come in and active, they have patience and all of this, um, to go in and to figure out if there's anything going on here, because they have patients claiming that they're seeing things, they're witnessing things. I would.
Mm. I just want to return to the chat just quickly. Dion's put a couple of posts in there. One of about how he hasn't experienced anything paranormal, and how would he go about honing in his skills to experience something that would be deemed paranormal without obviously getting into satanic crap. And then the second one, he's asked me about a time when we went out to the tunnel, and we were doing some filming out there, and Dion met us there, and he took a walk into the tunnel, and he ended up, I do believe you could say it is a potential paranormal attack of sorts, in that he lost all breath. He could barely walk. He had to sit down. He could not go back into that tunnel. He felt like he was suffocating. That to me, because we were there and there was nothing in there that was affecting anybody else that same way. I think there was something telling you to stay out. So I don't know whether that was potentially your guardian angel saying, no, it's not worth you going in there today, or whether it was something a little bit more messing around with you and saying, F off, get out kind of thing. I don't know enough to, at this point anyway, to delineate between the two. But yeah, I definitely think something didn't want you going into the tunnel that night. And he left.
Mm.
He was all right when he got there, and then he walked into the tunnel, and then that's everything happened. And he was sat outside because he got there probably 5 or 10 minutes before we got there.
Mm.
And then when he said he just can't do it, so he headed back to the car. By the time he got back to the car, he was perfectly fine again.
I mean, I say this time and time again. Paranormal is so subtle. Normal paranormal is subtle. I mean, things could happen, and easily you could shrug it off as, just a happening. But if you really think about it, you know, that was kind of weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's normal for Dion to go down this tunnel perfectly fine, and I would be interested to know that if he was to put himself in that same situation, if the same thing would happen, because then we could basically say that he did experience something.
Mm.
And now if he goes back and, tries, if that, then we could rule that out, because as far as the anatomy, our bodies are concerned, we're all different. So what could affect me might not affect you.
Yeah.
So what if it is a tunnel? you know we don't see it at the time, but I'm pretty sure there's particles, air particles, there's just things in the air, possibly even it being a tunnel, maybe, just maybe. That I don't know Dion personally, but what if he didn't know he was a little bit claustrophobic,
No,
right? Like, there's so many.
he's been in the tunnel several times before without this issue.
So you see that right there, I would say that something paranormal happened,
Hmm.
because something stopped him.
Yeah.
Just like me going into Kings Park, a place where I've gone. I mean, I consider Kings Park my home away from home.
Yeah.
Like, that's my summer house. So for me, for one day, well, two, be like, you know what? Not today.
Mm.
Like something is going on there. And I believe it's spiritual.
Well, I can
So yeah.
tell you, and I'm probably giving something away that I shouldn't be giving away something here, but that was that I have been into the South Fremantle power station in the past, and it's all caged off now. You can't get in, but this was back when you could walk straight in. And there have been, at that point, there were 11 suicides and 4 murders have taken place in that building, to the point there was like an escape tunnel that goes underneath for if anything had happened in the machine shop, they could get out and get to another area. That's where the murders took place, inside that tunnel. And they've actually blocked it off now, so you can't get to the area where the actual murders took place. You can still go into the big machine area where the suicides, because I don't know how they get to the top and then they jump and just, kill themselves. But when we were down in the tunnel, we've been down investigating in there, and we have had some very weird stuff happen. And, in fact, if you go back through some of, they're on my personal YouTube account, which I don't use anymore, but they're still up there live. There are some videos from early in the days of WA Paranormal when we used to put videos up. We don't do that much of it anymore at the moment anyway. I might change that. But we were down in the tunnel in one of these, and we got a disembodied voice saying the name of one of the guys that was with us in a very breathy voice. His name was Mark. And while we were talking, we heard Mark like that. And we've got it on video, and you can play it back and you can hear it clear as day. And down there, it's a disused power facility. It used to be the power station, but what's happened is just outside of that now, they've built like a substation. So that's the new one. The new substation is the one that is feeding the energy to the area. Now, there's that much residual energy coming off the substation that I had a TTL flash through the lens flash, which is, the big flash unit that you see on the top of a DSLR camera. And something happened, and it sort of hit the wall, and I heard this noise coming off it. It's like, so I just touched it to the wall, and this is how much power is going through this place. The TTL flash started going. It was wanting to go off just because the amount of energy, and this is down 2 levels down in the sub basement. And the first time we were there was three of us, and I was the smallest of the three of us. The other 2 guys were both well over 6 foot, and it was a Friday night. We'd arranged to go down there after work, so I'd rolled up. They were already there, and they said, "Oh yeah, we went in. We were going to go down there, and we got as far as the top of the ladder that goes down into the substructure, and something scared the shit out of them that much that they wouldn't go down. They waited for little old me to roll up. They had to throw the little midget man down first, and I went down there, and they were happy to go down once I was already down there." And that's when we started having some of these weird experiences. Now, we'd come up and we were at the top of this escape ladder. There's no other way in down the bottom. So we'd investigated the whole area, and we'd come back up. No one down there. It was just the 3 of us. And while we were talking, when we were talking about the paranormal activity and stuff like that had been happening there, something massive got thrown from the death tunnel, what we call the death tunnel. It's the tunnel where the murders took place. Something big got thrown that hard, and there was nothing there because we'd just been in there doing an EVP session and doing some video recordings and stuff like that. That a massive bang happened. Something had been thrown. It bounced off 2 of the walls and then came rolling out, just slightly out of view, but you could see the movement in the shadows. And there was nobody there. There hadn't been anybody there. And we were like, all right, we're coming back. And we would go there quite regularly. The problem is, and there are some absolute corker stories I could tell you about that place. But there were issues there. There is asbestos there, and you're warned off for those reasons. And there are a lot of big holes in the floor where machinery used to come up through the floors and through the different levels, and they've put boards over them. But if you walk in the wrong spot, you could potentially fall down. And there was somebody that was with us once that was backing up to the point where we stopped them just short. Their heel was almost at the point of going across one of these. If they'd stepped backwards another step, they would have fallen into the hole. Now, luckily for them, they were a wide person, so they wouldn't have actually gone through the hole. They would have just got wedged, but we would have had to get them out. Luckily, that didn't happen. So it is dangerous to go down there. I don't know when I started mentioning the big person, we just dropped 2 people. So that was interesting. But yeah, when you go in there, the activity there, because there's so much energy, stuff can manifest, stuff can happen. And we went there one night. We were getting the tail end of a cyclone. And so it was a bit stormy outside. Then you take into account the substation going. That night it went off, and that was the night that we saw what I like to call like the hook man kind of thing. We'd climbed out because you had to climb in and out through a window. We had to climb out, and we were walking back to where the cars were, and we had to hide behind a bush because we saw this guy lean over the top of this building. Now, this building's pretty high up. He'd leaned over the top with one of those old-fashioned lanterns, like the old oil lanterns, and he was looking around like that, and he had the yellow jacket on like what the old fishermen used to wear, the oilskins and stuff. And we were like, what the nobody uses one of those fucking lamps now. And we were just like, we almost commando rolled, hiding through bushes, working our way out because we didn't want to get seen by whatever it was. That's how much it actually freaked us out because it was so bloody unusual. And again, we went back, and we even when we got out past the first fence to the second fence, which is down and flattened, so it's not like we're climbing through fences. You just walk straight over them. But that's how far out. We looked back at that point. He was still walking around looking. And that was one of the weirdest. He would have been there for a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And that spun the absolute crap out of us. Like that place goes off. And I've approached to get legitimate access to it. But what's happened is because of the asbestos, they're not letting people in. And now it's under a situation where they're wanting to redevelop, clean it all up and turn it into a community hub. Now, if you Google, when you get a chance, just Google the South Fremantle Power Station and you see that building, that place is awesome, and we loved it. Now, back before they fully blocked it off and they've got guards, dog security and everything there now, so you can't get in there now. And these fences are solid metal with barbs and crap, so you're not getting in anymore. But one of the last times that we were there, I think I've told you this story before, we were up at the top. We were all under night vision conditions, so it was torches out. We were all under infrared, and we were doing an investigation up on the top level. And we heard some voices come from outside, so we went, sort of stuck our nose through the window just to make sure it wasn't security coming in. And it was these 2 guys and these 2 girls, and teenagers, obviously thrill seekers and everything. Oh, let's go into the big haunted building. These 2 got these. Yep.
North Coogee, West Australia.
Yeah.
Keep on.
Yeah. So we were looking to see, and it was these young people climbing through the window, helping these girls. Obviously, these 2 blokes, 15, 16 maybe, they were like, we're going to get a little bit of action tonight. They were talking the talk, we're brave ghost hunters and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We know because we were bloody listening to them doing all their talk. Now, when you walk in through, you got to walk through this little corridor after you're in the room where you climb in through the window. You go into the corridor, and then you have to come down, and then you go into the big foyer area, and there's this like giant central staircase that splits off one way and splits off the other way, and it is a grand staircase. It is magnificent, and again, there's a photo of that somewhere on our WAPR page of the whole team. And these guys were walking up and they were saying, "Oh, we're so brave, this, that." And the girls were like, "Oh, yeah, you know." They were dumb and they were being impressed by these guys. And he's got like this little, you know, it's like a torch from your phone, not very bright. But we were still under night vision, and I just thought, yeah, I'm going to say hello, but I'm not going to do it until they come up. So they'd walked up the top, and they go, "Are you going to go into there?" "Yes, I'm brave. I'm going to go into there because I ain't afraid of no ghosts." Bloody watch Ghostbusters, so they pull that crap out. He walked through, and I just remember total pitch black, just with the infrared camera on. Go, "G'day." I have never in my life ever since heard that specific tone that came out of that kid's voice. But I reckon if we'd have had glasses, it would have shattered glasses. I can't even replicate it. It was so high pitched, it would bring dogs from miles away. And he took 4 steps, well, not 4 steps, he literally bounded backwards. I'm pretty sure a little bit of poo might have even filled his jocks, which then set everybody else off. They all screamed and yelled, but it was the 2 guys that were louder than the girls. And then once they put the torch on the Sears with all the gear, these guys are, and the girls go, "Oh, are you real ghost hunters?" And I said, "Yeah, we've got some of the gear here if you want to get." That was it. The girls hang around with the team for the next hour or two. These poor guys just like, "Well, there you go. We're not getting any tonight now." And we thought, you know, we better leave them in peace. So we left in the end. And I honestly don't think those guys ended up getting any. I don't think they got any at all. Especially after here, I don't think there was an iota of ball between them. It was that high pitch that, you know, even mangina is not the word for it. It just clenched,
Gary,
squeaked. It was shocking. It was shocking.
you guys are a bunch of cock blockers.
Apparently, not that there would have been that much cock to block based on that pitch noise they made, but that was one of the funny things that happened there, you know. But that place absolutely goes off, and it's still there now. It's about a half-hour drive away from where I am, but
Oh man,
you just can't get in. You can't get in. They've got security cameras everywhere. They've got guard dog security. They've got this big ass 15-foot fence around it now, so you're not
it
getting
looks
in.
absolutely amazing.
Oh, we did a
It
long, one of the first nights that we
looks
were there, we did this long exposure because there was these clouds coming in, and we did this long exposure shot there. So you've got these clouds coming in, all sorts of wispy, and it's a stop motion, like 15-second exposure. And oh mate, if I find it, I'll share it with you. That place is sensational, and you're only seeing what's above ground, not what's below ground.
ooh, even better.
So
Jeez.
yeah, that
Oh man,
that place
it looks
is amazing.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, I think you've got to go soon, don't you?
Oh man, yeah. Actually, I just lost track of time. This was
Well, I thought I'd
amazing.
better let you know because I'm enjoying this conversation, but I don't want you getting in trouble. Oh, hi, Heidi. Hello.
Oh my god.
She's my girl. She's my daughter, my stepdaughter, my daughter. She is.
No, I mean, I am reading this, about about Fremantle, and then all I hear you was like, "Hi, Heidi." I was like, "Hi, Heidi." Oh man, this looks absolutely amazing. Jesus
It
Christ! If
is
I ever
one of
make it
the.
out there,
I can take you right up to the edge of it, but you can't get in because of the fence. It's just too big.
but I have faith in the world that you could get in contact with somebody.
No, I've tried that. I have tried. There's 2 locations that I've tried, like high water high, to get in, and it's come back as an absolute no, and that is the South Fremantle Power Station. I tried to get. I even said that we were just shooting some stuff for a video on local landmarks and shit like that, just to get through the door, and it's a no. And then the other place is the old Swanbourne Psychiatric Hospital. Again, I have been in there once with security, not to be locked away or nothing, but we were there and we were checking the place out, and he came up to us and he goes, "You guys are a bunch of old farts." So he said, "You can come in with us and walk around with us." He had his guard dog with him, but he said, "You can't go through a door if it's locked." He said, "I'm not opening locked doors." He said, "And you're not allowed to take photos and you're not allowed to take video because you're not supposed to be here." But we were in there for a couple of hours, into the morgue and everything. And I was so looking forward to trying to get into the, I don't know why I say this, but get into the fridges and stuff. But they were all gone. The fridges were gone. It was just the room. And yeah, we came very close with that when it was still vacant. We got as far as final conversations to actually get into the place. We were talking with the actual property manager and everything. But literally that week, they had signed a deal to turn it into an old age facility. So as soon as that happened, they didn't want any negative publicity about anything that could potentially be paranormal. And that place, holy hell, I have got some video, which I shouldn't be saying live on air, should I? But I have got some video that I was sitting on, basically waiting for the moment that we had legitimate approval, and that would have been going live. So if I can find it, I know where it is. I know where the footage is. It is live on the internet somewhere, but it's a hidden, unlisted file. So you need the actual link to get to it. And that night, something was in there with us that was that big. And the beauty of it was somebody turned around to me and said, "You ran out so fast." I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "Yeah, we all got out of there quick when whatever it was going off. But do you want to see who was out there first?" I said, "Because you were in front of me with the bloody camera. I was filming. There's your big ass running in front of me, getting out." And yeah, so that place, there is a building that is still open to the public, and if you want to look up that one, look up Montgomery Hall in Mount Claremont. That's the back end of the hospital, and that place is nuts. So, but they still do. They'll do like dinner shows and things like that there, like some sort of a masquerade ball or a Halloween special and things like that, because it is renowned for being haunted. But the couple of times, and again, there was one time legitimately that we got in there because they were actually shooting a film in the buildings on the north side, and we said, "Can we go and have a look in the building on the south side because there's nobody there?" And they said, "So long as you fill out this paperwork," which was a release, we were allowed in there. So we were in there for about an hour and a half, and the shit that we had happen in that building was unbelievable. But again, we're not allowed to use that footage. And funny enough, that those releases that we filmed were actually the documents that the extras in the film filled out. So I don't know what the hell the film is called, but we're all down as being extras, and we're listed in the credits of the film. And I don't know what the film is. I want to find out what it is, but I should actually look up films that were shot there and then get the name of it. But
Oh
yeah,
my
our
God.
names pop up in the credits. So
Oh my God.
anyway, on
Freaking
that,
amazing.
I think you're going to have to do a runner, aren't you?
Yes, yes, yes. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go. I got some errands to run. But man, today was a good one. And honestly, after talking about uh how when we talk about paranormal out there in the community, there are just people, looking at us like if we're crazy. I think this is a perfect
Sorry,
place also,
not.
aside from yeah, aside from, people that are in Perth to go, so you guys can hang out, talk, because it does feel good to find people with that are like-minded and have experiences. So but yeah, I think this is also a very good place right here on the Shadow Files or on the Static Echoes, for people to just, if you guys have experiences and want to share, we are here to listen. And hey, who knows? We'll probably even be able to help if you need it.
Mm.
So,
Well, just before we do
for sure.
go, just to fill everybody in, we do have some West Australian guests coming on Static Echoes in the coming weeks, who've had Yowie encounters, and several of them. One of these ladies that's going to be coming on the show actually lives down south, and she's actually invited us to go down there and spend a weekend camping in the back end of her property, where these creatures are said to pass by quite regularly. So that is a potential thing. But once we've spoken to her, I will be able to then lock something in, and that's probably 2.5 hour drive away from where we are now. And I'll be taking the cameras down for definite for that one.
Hey, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting.
Anyway, on that,
by the way,
yeah,
I dedicated a playlist to you guys on my channel.
Oh.
It's called Terrifying Bigfoot Encounters, and I shout you guys out all the time.
But it's a Yowie over here, not a Bigfoot. God, I sounded so terrible then, didn't I?
I do mention that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, man, that's that. We got that coming up, and there's a few other guests coming on as well. So I'm gonna kick back into some of those stories that I do for bedtime stories and things like that, and then some more interviews and see if we can't kickstart everything again, because obviously with everything that's been happening over the last couple of months, and with sadly losing my mum, I've taken a bit of a break and the channels have suffered, so I'm hoping to rebuild them all. So if you're out there, please like, share and subscribe, and let everybody know if they're into this kind of thing to jump on over, because we do have some public events coming up again soon, a couple of Skywatch nights and some ghost hunty type nights and things like that, just to get everybody out there and playing with the toys. On that silly little way to end a show, we will end the show. Sorry, mate. All right. Take it easy, everybody, and thank you for joining.
Have a good one, guys.
Keep looking up.